permiso, buenas tardes. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening everywhere in the world where you are. It's a pleasure for me, Andres Rodriguez from Ecuador, in the webinar sessions. Today we have a special guest from Saudi Arabia, Hind. I had the opportunity and the honor to watch her presentations in the TESOL and also in Peruneta and different part of the world that she presented internationally. So today we have her presence in our webinar. So I think we teachers, we are going to enrich and learn different things. Now, the most important is the interaction that we're going to have. So thanks, Hind, for accepting this invitation. It's a pleasure. Before we start, I'm going to make available the screen, okay? So you can share with us.
Thank you.
Okay, Hind, you can start.
Great, thank you very much. I'm just going to share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see.
Great. Okay, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here. And I hope you'll find my presentation useful. So my name is Hind Elyas. I'm based in Saudi Arabia, and I work at the English language at the Tayaran National Aviation Academy, which is part of Niagara College in Canada. I'm the incoming chair I'm the chair of the TESOL International Professional Development Professional Council and the committee member at Womentorship in ELT. And I'm also IATEFL Global Issues Month coordinator. And I really love presenting, traveling to different countries virtually, and connecting with colleagues around the world. So my presentation is titled Lifelong Learning Skills in the 21st Century Classroom. And I'm going to talk about some skills that are important that help students in the classroom. And they're also linked to employability skills that students need to have in order to be ready for the workplace. I'm going to start by talking about jobs. The job market today is changing, and as we can see, teachers are updating their curriculum and teaching strategies to focus on new skills, values, attitudes, and these help students excel in their workplace, increasing the chances of getting the jobs and avoiding redundancy. So these skills are also important, especially now with the changes in jobs, the situation of jobs with the pandemic. So employability skills are personal qualities that make you employable, and they're sometimes called soft skills or transferable skills because they separate from your technical knowledge and work experience, and they can be applied to almost any job in any industry. So what are these skills? Communication, honesty, teamwork, interpersonal skills, strong work ethic, flexibility, computer skills, self-confidence. And we're going to look at different a theory that helps us with these employability skills for students, and they're important in any time. So why are these skills important? These set of job readiness skills are, in essence, behaviors that are necessary for every job and are essential attitudes that allow you to grow in your career, and they help you connect with your coworkers, solve problems, understand your role within a team, make responsible choices for your job and your career, be independent, take charge of your career. And we also know that personal characteristics are also important, like habits, attitudes that influence how you interact with each other. Employers value employability skills because they regard these as indications of how you get along with other employees and team members and customers, and how effectively you are likely to handle your job performance and your success. So in our jobs, when we're teaching, our managers are watching us. They're looking for these employability skills, and they want to make sure that we can communicate well with our students, with our colleagues, with management, etc. So we need to ask ourselves two important questions. How can educators prepare students for the job market? And how can we help students develop employability skills? The solution is by using the 6 C's of education. The 6 C's are modern day skills, and they play a major role in setting students up for success and working towards ensuring that they thrive personally and professionally. So what do we need to do as teachers? Teachers need to rethink their existing curricula in order to help students build 21st century skills that help them with the workplace. So the introduction about employability skills leads us to the main theme, which is 21st century skills in the English language classroom. So here we have 2 frameworks. We have the 20th century classroom and framework. So if you look at the picture here, you can see the 21st century, the 20th century classroom. As you can see, students are bored. The teacher is controlling the whole situation. You're probably going to hear a bell. Students walk out. They go to the next class or come back later. And the teacher's in charge, giving orders, telling them what to do. And it's not a really friendly environment. So in the 20th century classroom, the framework was core subjects and assessment. So it's teach, test, teach, test, teach, test. And that was the old-fashioned way of teaching and learning. Now let's look at the 21st century classroom. This is what a 21st century classroom looks like. So as you can see, we have iPads, spectrums, smart screens, cameras. There's so many different things that we have in the 21st century classroom, and it's more inviting. And now if we look at the framework, it's not focusing on core subjects only. It's focusing on life skills, 21st century content, thinking and learning skills, ICT literacy. So it's not only focusing on what you learn in the classroom and being tested. And we have tested, we do test our students in the 21st century classroom, but the difference is it's 21st century assessment. So the partnership for the 21st century learning defined 4 important skills, and they're 21st century skills, and they called them the 4 C's, the 4 C's of learning. So what are the 4 C's of learning? Communication, which is sharing thoughts and ideas. And I'm going to talk more about communication soon. Collaboration, which is working together, reaching a goal, and putting talent, expertise, and smarts to work. Critical thinking, which is looking at problems in a new way and linking learning across subjects and disciplines. Creativity, which is trying new approaches to get things done, leading to innovation and invention. And we're also going to look at some different activities that you can do in your classroom that promote 21st century skills. So now I'm going to talk about each of these skills in detail. Number 1, communication. What do I mean by communication? It's sharing thoughts, ideas, and solutions. So if we look at the 20th century classroom, the teacher would just explain the lesson to the student, and then they would go and memorize and come back. There was no interaction. The teacher was in control. The teacher was also called the sage on the stage. That means the one who's doing all the communication, it's just a one-way flow. But here, it's sharing thoughts, ideas, solution. discussing ideas, putting the students in breakout rooms and getting them to express themselves. In the technological age, it's easier, and at the same time, it's harder. Technology is more convenient, and as we can see what we're doing right now, having an online event, and it made communication a lot easier, but at the same time, it can be overwhelming. And sometimes the problem when you're communicating is that it can be more about the technology used, and the message itself is lost in the way. So without effective communication, there's no way to get anything done. Collaboration. Collaboration is working together to reach a goal. Technology has made communication a lot easier. However, breakdowns can happen as well when we're collaborating. The number of choices can get overwhelming, and the actual collaboration can get lost while we pay too much attention to the tool we're using to collaborate. And a good example is I attended a conference, and they used a new platform, and it didn't work. So there's so many different choices. You can use Zoom, you can use Teams, and when we focus more on the tool rather than the actual communication, the message can actually get lost. So as the world gets more interconnected, collaboration will become a more and more essential skill than it already is. The third C is critical thinking, and it's looking at problems in a way and learning across subjects and disciplines. It has been an essential skill in every century and every profession, and it allows students to make sense of present content and apply it in their daily lives. However, it's really a problem if we let the technology do the thinking for us. In order to succeed in the 21st century, we need to remember that no matter how advanced the machine is, it's useless without a person telling it what to do. That's our problem. We rely too much on our phones, on our iPads, on our ATM machines, but in the end, we need to remember that these are machines and they are useless if they're not done properly. If something goes wrong, it's a problem. So critical thinking is a very important skill that our students need to develop. The fourth C is creativity, and creativity is trying new approaches to get things done, innovation and invention. One of the interesting things that one of the associations that I work with, which is the British Council. So I'm an ELTS British Council judge, where we look at different apps, different teaching strategies, books, tools, and we make sure that they are creative and innovative. Something that's new, and this is 21st century teaching and learning. So creativity is trying new approaches, and innovation and invention, that is what we mean by creativity. So that is one of the things that we look at when we look at the different application, we look at the tools. We have to make sure that they're innovative, not just something that's been done before. That's why we have to encourage our students to also be creative and, invent new things, try new ideas, and not just repeat things that have been done previously. The 21st century is a fun time to be creative, and that's thanks to technology. There's so many apps, so many applications, so many tools, so many websites that we can use to be creative. Not only are traditional ways of creativity still available, but there are also new possibilities. So for example, instead of just painting a picture, you can animate it or arrange a piece of music on a computer without even knowing how to play, without even learning. You don't need classes anymore. It's up to you to utilize your own thinking power and the technology at hand to get the creative project done. So we talked about the 4 C's. The partnership for the 21st century learning decided that the 4 C's of learning are not enough anymore. So it's going beyond the 4 C's. They decided that students need to develop grit, perseverance, empathy, and they needed more skills. They added 2 more, and now we have the 6 C's of 21st century learning. So they added 2 more. So now we have character education and citizenship, which are also important tools for the 21st century classroom and also employability, promote employability skills. So As you can see, this is the diagram that shows us what these skills are: creativity, character education, citizenship, communication, critical thinking and problem solving, and collaboration. And if you look at all the new exams, IELTS exams, SATs, they all focus on these skills: critical thinking, collaboration, creativity. So these are the additional ones. The fifth one is citizenship and culture. So citizenship and culture go hand in hand. Citizenship and culture focus on the importance of being in touch with everything that surrounds the individual. Character education refers to qualities of the individual essential for being effective in a complex world, and they include grit, perseverance, ability to empathize with others, etc. The Partnership for the 21st Century Skills has developed a unified collective vision for 21st century learning that can be used to strengthen education. So now we have, as you can see, the framework of the 21st century that we talked about previously, and now we have the new version, which is the framework for the 21st century learning. So these are elements that are important for the 21st century to develop 21st century skills. First of all, we need to focus on life skills. In our classroom, we don't just focus on what's in the book. And now even books do focus on skills that promote life skills. Good teachers have always incorporated life skills into their pedagogy. The challenge today is to incorporate these essential skills into schools deliberately, strategically, and broadly, not just by chance. We need to look at interpersonal and self-directional skills, interpersonal and collaborative skills, self-direction, accountability and adaptability, social responsibility, ethical behavior, and so many others. We need to make sure that the second element is 21st century content. The goal of providing education in 21st century content is to provide students ways to see connections between their schoolwork and their lives outside the classroom. These connections are important to encourage student engagement, motivation, attitudes towards learning. 21st century content should be delivered in a 21st century context. It should be practical, emotional and social connections to skills and content, bringing the world into the classroom and taking the students out into the world, creating opportunities for students to interact with each other and with adults in authentic learning situations. Core subjects. Emphasize the core subjects of reading, English, mathematics, science, foreign language, civics, government, economics, arts, history, and geography, and expanding students' understanding in core subjects beyond minimal mastery. So we have to help them develop these skills, learn more about not just focusing on what's on the book, but for example, you can talk to them about something that happened in real life. For example, you can talk about COVID. You can talk about something that's happening around the world. So, and that is what we mean by bringing the world into the classroom. Element 4 is learning and thinking skills. As much as students need to learn academic content, they also need to know how to keep learning and make effective and innovative use of what they know throughout their lives. Learning and thinking skills are, first I'm going to talk about learning skills, which includes information and communication skills, information and media literacy, visual literacy, innovating, communication, and thinking and reasoning, which includes critical thinking, problem solving, and creating. Students need to learn academic content through real world examples. So as I said, getting things that are happening in the real world and talking about them in our classrooms. I reviewed books for National Geographic, and what I liked about them is that they did have material that focused on things that are happening around us in real life, and that is what's making it authentic and interesting. inside and outside our classrooms. It's important to incorporate these skills. Students understand and retain more when their learning is relevant, engaging, and meaningful to their life. So it's something that they can relate to. They will definitely be able to learn more. ICT literacy, and of course with the pandemic now, we know that this is a very important skill. ICT literacy is information technology. It's the ability to use technology to support 21st century teaching and learning. And we're lucky that our students are more tech savvy, so that helps a lot, and they really enjoy learning online. They learn using iPads. They like to learn using online applications and online games. In the digital world, students need to learn to use tools to master the learning skills that are essential to everyday and workplace productivity. Not only students, but we need to learn these skills as well. ICT literacy, as defined by the Program for International Student Assessment, is the interest, ability, and attitude of individuals to appropriately use digital technology and communication tools to access, manage, integrate, and evaluate information, construct new knowledge, and communicate with others to participate effectively in the society. And ICT literacy skills are becoming more and more important, as you can see now with this online event, teaching online, the pandemic. That's why these skills are really important in today's world. 21st century assessments. 21st century assessments means using high quality assessments that measure students' performance for the elements of a 21st century education. We need to have high quality standardized tests for accountability purposes, combined with classroom assessments for improved teaching and learning, and this offers strong balanced assessment. So it's from management and from you as a teacher in the classroom. Standardized testing alone can measure a few of the important skills and knowledge the students should learn. That's why we should make sure that we focus on 21st century assessments. Sophisticated assessment at all levels use new information technology to increase efficiency and timeliness. So student engagement is also a very, very important skill. As we said previously, the teacher's not the one who's doing all the explaining. Now we want students to be more involved. Student engagement is a sign that students are learning. If you're teaching in classroom today, then chances are very strong that student engagement is definitely on your school's radar. When somebody comes and observes you in the classroom, they're looking to see the student engagement. They want to see if you're doing all the talking. We need to reduce teacher talk. Even though this quote was shared long, long ago, it could not be more relevant than it is today. Think about this quote. Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I remember. Involve me and I learn. So we're going to look at some activities that really involve your students, and that way they can actually learn better. The first one is a very interesting technique that I really enjoy doing with my students. It's called the jigsaw. A jigsaw, as you can see in the picture, this is what a jigsaw is. You know, jigsaw puzzle. So this is something similar. It's a cooperative learning strategy where each student, it's a cooperative learning strategy where each student in the group takes responsibility for one chunk of the content and teaches it to the other members of the group. Then the students fit their individual chunks together to form a complete body of knowledge. And I'm going to talk more about this jigsaw puzzle. How do we do it? It's not a jigsaw puzzle, it's called jigsaw. So first of all, you divide your students into two groups of 4 or 6. So you see it in the picture on the right, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups. Divide your lesson or content into 4 chunks. So for example, if I'm talking about different topics, I have democracy, it could be a lesson, history lesson, democracy, dictatorship, monarchy, republic. So what you do is you give each one of these members one of these topics to focus on. So let's say if we talk about something easier, let's say we're doing grammar, you have the present tense, past tense, present continuous, past continuous, etc. So you have these different topics. So you give each group one chunk. So group number one, the red group, is going to focus on the present simple. Group number two, the orange group, is going to focus on the past simple. Group number three is going to focus on the present continuous. Group number four is going to focus on the past continuous. Only, they're not going to focus on every single one. Maybe a topic like that will be too detailed, but if you look at one topic and divide that topic into different segments, then, or it could be, for example, a certain unit, then you give each group a certain title or a certain topic to focus on. So assign one chunk of content to each person in the jigsaw, and that person will be responsible for teaching that chunk to the group. So the person who is in charge of the present simple will explain his to group number one, to the red group, the present simple. He's only going to focus on present simple. The students don't need to interact with the members of the group. They're just going to read and study their chunk. So there's a leader in each group, and that person is going to study the present simple. So as you can see here, I have 6 groups, right? So each member of each group is going to focus on the same topic. So for example, we're doing in group number one, we have somebody who's focusing on in group number one person is going to talk about the present simple. In group number two, the orange group, somebody's going to explain the present simple. In group number 3, purple group, someone's going to explain the present simple. In the yellow group, present simple, there's one person. Green group, light green group. So in each group, there's somebody explaining to the other members of his group the present simple. So they can understand the present simple, they need to go and read it in order to explain it to the other members of the group. So they go to a corner and study this present simple topic. But they're not going to be alone. They're going to meet in expert groups. So from each group, the person who is explaining the present simple they're all going to meet up in one group, and this is going to be called the expert group. So they're going to ask each other questions. If they're not clear, they'll explain it to each other so they can go and explain it to their colleagues. They study it together, they master it, and this is called the expert group. After they have mastered it, they go back to their main group and explain it. So that is the person who is in charge of the present simple. Same thing with the other topics. I'm going to go back to the expert group. In the expert group, they compare their ideas, they prepare a presentation for their main groups, and if they have any questions, they can ask the experts who are in their groups. Any gaps in knowledge can be filled, misconceptions can be cleared up, and important concepts reinforced. So they learn from their expert peers, and then they go to their main groups and explain it. Students return to the original jigsaws, and they take turns presenting their chunk. So for example, somebody went to the expert group for the present simple. Another member of the group went to the blue group for the past simple, and to be an expert and come back and explain it to the main group. The other groups listen carefully and take notes and ask questions, and finally assess all students on the content. This is a really fun activity, and students really like it, and you can use it for anything. You can use it for maths, English, IT, grammar, writing, etc. And I did it with writing. So you can get one group to do the introduction, the second group to do the body, and the third group to do the conclusion. They compare it, and then they put it all together, and you've got a great writing task. Now this next topic, next activity is called the Genius Hour. It focuses on our passion. What are you passionate about? So this activity focuses on finding one's passion and building upon it. Maybe the next invention will be from your classroom. Nobody knows. It's called the Genius Hour, and it's where passions come to life. So the Genius Hour is another teaching method in the 21st century classroom, and it refers to a certain amount of time that the teachers give their students to explore their passions. So, for example, when you're teaching a lesson and you feel that your students are getting bored, you can just tell them, okay, it's Genius Hour time, and they get to focus on whatever they want to talk about. They can talk about, they're going to do a research project, and they're going to talk about different, whatever they like. For example, I will talk about conferences. I'll go, ask them what they like. For example, you can have one person doing a research or a project or something about football. So it's just a break. Depending on your syllabus or your curriculum, if you have time, you can give them 1 hour every week to do the Genius Hour. When you feel you're losing your students and they're getting bored, you can get them to do the Genius Hour, and they are going to learn, and they don't even know that they're learning. They're just going to think that, oh, this is fun time, but it's actually not. They are actually learning, and this is the best way to get your students engaged and excited about learning. So I'll talk more about the principles of the Genius Hour. First of all, we have what we said 80-20 rule. So 80%, this provides a usable pattern and structure for learning in the classroom. 80% should be for class time, 20% for 80% of your teaching for class time for following your book, the curriculum. 20% is for the Genius Hour and for the students to explore their passions and work on what they like. One of the another principle, and it's a great advantage, which is socialization. Students, so for example, if somebody's doing a survey about football players, that is part of a Genius Hour project that one of my students did. How does it help them develop their social skills? They're going to connect with their teachers and ask questions. They're going to present something. They're going to do a PowerPoint presentation, and they're going to go and maybe do a questionnaire, ask question, a survey. So students connect with their teachers to plan, they connect with their peers to produce something, and experts and community members to establish a sense of purpose for their work. So after the socialization part, they start creating something, whether they can make something, they can publish something, they can do a podcast, a play, a PowerPoint presentation, a video, a book. So creating is a core principle to the Genius Hour. Inquiry, as we said, they're going to survey possibility, navigate unfiltered content, gather information, and through narrowed research, students make sense of ideas important to them. They're going to design without teachers packaging content, and that teachers are going to scaffold and help students, and students are left to design their own learning experiences. So teachers are only supporting them, but they are the ones who decide what the project is, what they want to do, who they want to interview, what they want to talk about. So students are in the driver's seat. So that is that is the Genius Hour. Sorry, I missed one. A sense of purpose, which is it's student-centered, and they will feel like they made something. They made a PowerPoint presentation on their own. They came up with a video, a play, a podcast. So it gives them a sense of purpose, sense of ownership, and it makes them really happy. Another fun activity is called the fishbowl activity. This encourages collaboration, creativity, communication, critical thinking, all the C's that we talked about. It's a cooperative learning structure for small groups or partner discussions. So as you can see in the picture here, we have two groups. We have the fishbowl, which is the small group, the inner circle, and we have participants who are outside, who are observing the members inside the fishbowl. The ones inside are discussing a topic, and the ones outside are only observing. They're not allowed to communicate. They're not going to express their thoughts or opinions. They're just going to take notes and observe what they're doing in the fishbowl, and then they're going to discuss this later on. So first of all, how do you conduct this activity? First of all, you select a topic. It could be anything. Then the ones who are going to the ones who are in the fishbowl are going to prepare a discussion. You give them, you can do, depending on the level, depending on their ability, you can let them prepare for discussion. You can let them do it, go home and prepare it, or you can give them 10-15 minutes to prepare. And as I said, depends on the level, depends on different things. So give the students, you can give them a few minutes or a day to prepare ideas and questions in advance. And then they go into the fishbowl and they start conversation and discussion, and the ones outside are observing and taking notes and watching them. You can get them to choose one of their colleagues to observe them. So you can ask them, who did you observe? And was that person active? How many times did that person participate? Did he keep the conversation going? Did he ask meaningful questions, etc.? So after you have this activity for 10-15 minutes, then you're going to exchange roles. They're going to exchange roles. So the ones inside the fishbowl are going to go out and become observers, and the ones outside are going to come into the fishbowl and do what the ones in the fishbowl were doing previously. So how are you going to stop that discussion? You can either ask them to tap their shoulders. So when they tap their shoulder, this is a sign that they need to switch places. Or you can just say switch, and then they switch. The ones inside go out and the ones outside go in. After the discussion, you can ask students to reflect on how they thought the discussion went. And they evaluate their performance as listeners and participants. And that is the end of the fishbowl activity. And of course, it promotes lifelong learning skills. It focuses on the 6 C's, and it's fun. And students will feel that it's not just, it's something different. Another interesting activity that helps with reading is called Think Aloud. The Think Aloud activity is a process, is a teaching strategy, and it's used to model how readers think as they read. So for example, you have a story, let's say you have Cinderella. What you do is you open the book to show that you're reading, and this is what students are supposed to do when they are reading. You open a book and you tell them, when the book is open, I'm reading. When the book is closed, I'm thinking. For example, once upon a time, there was a girl called Cinderella. The book is open, I'm reading. And then what am I supposed to do when I'm reading? I'm not just going to read. How do I read and think about what I'm reading? So you close the book and you tell them, this is thinking time. I wonder what the word Cinderella means. So this is what happens in our heads when we are reading, but we don't really think about it. What does the word Cinderella mean? I'll highlight it. That's one thing you can do, to highlight the difficult words. Or I'll look it up in the dictionary right away. I'm going to open the dictionary and look at the meaning of Cinderella. What does the word Cinderella come from? It comes from cinder, right? So this is what you do. You want them to highlight it. You tell them. You just demonstrate that and show them how to do it. Or you look it up right away. You underline the word. Whatever you want your students to do, you do it when you're modeling and you're showing them what to do when the book is closed. Or you can also stand on one side of the classroom. That means you're reading. You can tell the students, when I'm standing on the right side, this is reading. When I walk to the left side, I'm thinking about what I've read. You can use Post-its as well. During Think Aloud, you do things that you want your learner to do. What do you want them to do? Do you want them to use sticky notes? Do you want them to underline the words? Do you want them to look it up in the dictionary right away? Whatever you want your students to do, you do it and you show them how to pause and think about what they've read. So that is the end of the presentation. And I hope you found some of these activities interesting. And now it is time for Q&A.
I'm sorry. Thank you so much, dear Hind, for sharing with us these interesting and useful tips um, qualities for people who want to learn in this new century. So this is the time questions. Um, Let me read any comments that we have in this chat. Now, Marco Miguel from Peru. Yeah, it was very fruitful. Mr. Amer, how are you, Mr. Amer? Very informative session. Okay, thank you. My dear teachers, do you have any question you can ask in this moment? Any question, any comment would you like to ask?
If you have any questions about how these activities are done, or any students that you're finding difficulties in dealing with, I'm happy to answer your questions.
Yeah, I would say something, dear Ian. I was paying attention when you presented the activities. The fishbowl was very clear, and I think that it could engage, students, no, especially
Absolutely.
the note taking part. No, this is for critical thinking. No, I think that's very interesting.
Absolutely. And what I do with the fishbowl is I prepare questions for the ones outside, and I ask them to answer these. I give each one a sheet of paper with these questions typed. So, for example, choose a student to observe, write the name of the student. How many times does the student participate? What did he do that was meaningful? Did he keep the conversation going? Did he do anything interesting? Do you think that this person deserves an award for, excellent participation? And then they can observe more than one student, of course, but this kind of gives them, content and a context, and that way they can, focus on and know exactly what they're looking for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree with you with that part. No, so students have the opportunity to interact with the part of the questions. Okay. Well, I'm reading some comments here. Glennie says, I would like to know a little bit more about the genius. No, genius hour in the large group. Marco Miguel also says, okay, he would like if you can share some links, no, for reading more about it. No, I'm not sure if you could. I appreciate it, if you have some information, no? Further information.
Sure. I don't have any links now, but I can send them to on Andres, and then he can share them with you.
Yeah.
Definitely, yes. And for the fishbowl, sorry, you said you'd like to know more about the Genius Hour in a large group. So what you can do is you can, if you have a large group, it's a good idea to focus on dividing them into groups and putting the ones who are interested in the same thing together. And it doesn't have to be the exact same thing. Like, for example, if somebody's interested in for example, sports, somebody's interested in football, and another colleague is interested in basketball. So you can make it, instead of just focusing on a football genius hour to do to do his activity on football, you can make it a sports group. So then they can all work together and compare ideas. So you can, so instead of just focusing on one specific topic, you can make it, general. And for example, if somebody likes conferences, you can put that person in a group who likes, for example, traveling, right? Or somebody who likes communicating. So what you can do is make a long list, and then get them to choose things that they like, and then based on that, you can put them in categories, and it can be like, and that way, will be much better. They can actually work together. They don't need to go, far to find people to interview. They can interview each other, share ideas, compare ideas, and you can do something like a fishbowl with the Genius Hour. So 2 birds with 1 stone.
Thank you so much, dear Hind. We have a Bielka. Bielka is raising her hand. No, Bielka, please ask your question.
Good morning, everybody. My question is for Miss Hind. What is your best way for a great learning after this pandemic time, especially in a Latin country?
The best way for learning? I think there are, actually, I was not really familiar with online teaching and learning, but even now I'm teaching face-to-face, and I think not only in a Latin country, but in general, there are lots of different applications that can be used in a classroom. And these applications help you adapt material. You can create questions. You can put your curriculum, questions from your book, and these tasks, you have quizzes, which is great. You can create a quiz online on the application. You can send it to the students. You can use it in an online classroom, and you can use it for fun in a face-to-face classroom. One of the things about, so you have quizzes. I'll write it down in the chat box. There's Kahoot. So what's amazing about and there's Quizlet. What's amazing about these applications is that you don't really need to create any content. It's all there. If you want to create your own content, that's fine. And it's great to start your lesson with one of these activities. And I used to use them when I was online, but now I use them in my face-to-face classrooms as well, because the students get so engaged. There's a sense of competition. If, for example, you're teaching something about healthy body, you can use your own questions and make a quiz based on that. Or you can just put healthy body quiz, and you'll find hundreds of healthy body quizzes on these apps. So that is the best way, and you can use it in an online classroom, in a face-to-face classroom, and it's fun and engaging. Students get to join. They play these games together. It's a competition. So I'm just going to type them in the chat box, and I use them all the time. Whenever I have a unit, I either create my own, or I go on the application. You can just download the application on your phone, on your mobile phone, or your iPad, and then search for quizzes. Or you also get an option which says create quiz. So this is great. I'm just going to type them here. Kahoot, and you have.
Thank you, Miss.
I hope
Thank
it
you,
was
Mr.
helpful.
Andres.
You're welcome.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. It's okay.
This is.
I think it was a great question, and I would say something more. So, quizzes is a very nice tool. No?
Absolutely.
Live worksheets. Live worksheet is an interesting page to creating some assessment quizzes. Activities.
What's it called?
Live worksheets. Live worksheets.
Oh, I haven't heard about that one.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah,
and it's interesting how I just thought I was just looking for activities to use in an online classroom, but then when I started using them, I thought, oh, I can use this in a face-to-face classroom. So for every unit, I prepare a Quizlet, a Kahoot, and quizzes. So these are quizzes. Quizlet is great for vocabulary. It's great for vocabulary. You can use it in your language. You can use it in English, and it has these flashcards that rotate. And they're just amazing. I don't know if I could share it now. I wanted to give an example, but I'm not sure it's gonna work. But yeah, quizzes. I don't have it downloaded here. But yeah, if you just look at the vocabulary, there's so many ways to play vocabulary games using quizzes, and they're fun. There's match the words. So when they choose the word and the picture, match them, then the word disappears. So there's so many fun ways to use it. It's amazing. And they can do it on their own. They don't really need a teacher, but you can do it in a free class, but they can go and do it by themselves at home. So it's, useful in a classroom, or for them to review. If there's no time to do it in the class as a fun activity, they can just do it at home.
Yeah, I totally agree, dear Hind. And also because now we also have the hybrid methodology, so the combination of both, presential classes and also the online session. So you can include both activities to present in your classes and also send assignments to your students too.
True, absolutely.
Okay, you will say something more, dear partners. Thank you so much, Bielka, for your question. Okay, someone else would like to participate? Okay, well.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Mister. That is
Okay,
a
my
wonderful
pleasure.
idea to refer about the learning, especially with the children.
Oh, thank you so much for your question.
Thank you.
Well, I was reading the teachers' comments. I think though they're very engaged with the presentation because the topic presents different ideas, especially for to develop the creativity, the innovation, and also the critical thinking, as I said before. So, thank you, dear Hind, to share with us this interesting topic. Now, hopefully, I expect that not in a longer future, but in a close future, you can also share with us another topic. Now, I think it depends on your agenda.
Absolutely. I promise I'll definitely prepare another presentation. I really enjoyed presenting. And thank you very much for the invitation.
No, my pleasure. Thank you. So, well, these webinars, it's for contributing to support English teachers community. So those webinars are for free, but we try to do our best. First, inviting special guests, people who want to support us. So thanks for coming, and thanks also to the teachers to come here and join us, and they are eager to learn every session.
That's great. Thank you so much for the invitation, and I will definitely be back again.
Thank you. My last thing is, please, everybody, in this moment, we're going to have the last picture. So please, everybody, can you turn on your cameras for the last picture? So in this moment,
shall I start sharing?
Yeah, we are going to have the a general picture now. Okay. Okay, I can see Mr. Angelo. Nice to see you, Marco Miguel. Okay, you're from Peru, no?
Yeah, I am from Peru, Huancayo, Peru. Yes, it's
Okay,
a pleasure for me to share with you some ideas. Well, in this case, Hind or Hin, I don't know the correct pronunciation. Is it Hin or Hin?
Hind.
Hin.
Hind. Yes.
Hin.
Yes.
Okay, it was a pleasure really because you have lots of ideas. It was really fruitful because I would like to now that I know those skills that you have shared with us. So I would like to share that with my colleagues here in Huancayo, Peru. Thank you very
That's
much
great.
for that.
Thank you so much for attending. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much
Pleasure. Thank
thanks
you.
thanks for coming, and I send my greetings to Huancayo, Peru, and all the teachers from Peru that come and join us too. Okay, so are we ready for the big picture? Okay, I would like you to open your cameras, not to turn your cameras. Well, it's okay. Okay, smile. Okay, I can see your nice, friendly smile. Thank you so much. I hope you can enjoy this weekend. So, Hin, it's Friday. Is it still Friday there in your country, or it's Saturday?
Yep, it's Friday. It's Friday at it's 8:30 now. Friday.
My best wishes for you, okay? For professionally and personally too, okay? Have a nice weekend.
Thank you very much. It was an honor and a pleasure. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming, everybody. Thanks for connecting and following us. Andres Rodriguez, English coach, presents and invite you to every weekend, every session that you can learn from the webinars. I hope you have a very nice weekend, my dear partners. Thanks for coming. See you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye bye. Take care.
Bye-bye,
See you.
everybody.